Today we are going to do our final social media session. Today we're talking about promoting research and managing online identity and platforms. So using social media to promote the centre, demonstrating impact with handy tips, tricks, and all you need to know to become an expert. So this is the schedule for the next hour. Next hour we're going to be aiming for a 10-minute question and answer session at the end. So we're going to be looking at why social media matters for researchers. We're going to look at how to do it, some visuals, resources, hashtags, keywords, tagging, engagement. And then we're going to look at some platforms. Then we're going to look at managing your own online identity from personal brands, some tips, some examples, and then managing the platforms. So why does social media matter for researchers? So we're going to start. I haven't introduced ourselves, have I? Sorry, guys. My name's Oliver Jelly. I'm from Orange Juice Communications. This is my colleague, Neve Coleman, and we're both from Orange Juice Communications. We've worked with ARC East Midlands for 9 years now, working closely with the team to support communications, PR, and we've been running these sessions about social media and research. So, this is from AGE. It's a research communications company. They're used by Nature, Cambridge University Press, BMJ, and it talks about why social media for researchers. There's a chap here called Dr. Mudrak who has a passion for improving the way scholarly research is shared. So this is how we want to kick off the session.
Hi, I'm Ben Mudrak.
Hi, I'm Shashin Widenuri. Ben, let's talk about social media and research. Do you find that there are now some best practices around some really successful researchers who are using social media in an appropriate way to bring an audience to their work?
Yeah, I think that just like any other form of communication, there are a lot of benefits to social media, and for the most part, the scientists that seem to be using it right are the ones that are just the most comfortable telling their story to anyone who'll listen.
Yeah.
But what it does allow is, again, for you to reach people all around the world. And this is what's led to communities like ResearchGate, where they pick up on that fact and know that people are trying to connect. They don't really know how, and building these kind of platforms. In terms of best practice, I think it's just to share early and often. I mean, much like any other form of what you're reading on social media, you know how quick and busy it can get. And if you're really looking to make an effort, try to find something that's visually engaging, a way that you can share your work that isn't just the title of a paper.
Yeah.
AJE, how research breaks through.
There we go. So, as we know, academic research still tends to be shared mainly through conferences, journals, publications. But in this digital age, and with the impact of the pandemic as well, the continuing growth of social media has forced a lot of people online to keep up with the increasing amount of research in their industry and areas. So you should be present on social media to stay informed, connect with colleagues, brand yourself, establish yourself as an expert in your field. So here's what academics are saying about why scientists should be on social media. So by being on social media and contributing on there, you can influence how science is seen. It provides a place to explain academic research to a broad audience, including international audiences, and giving your research more visibility. And it can also be used as a dialogue platform to encourage collaboration and teamwork among researchers. So here's some more from the University of Essex and UKRI as well, to speak about how you can use social media and why you should use social media to share your research. It just provides the opportunity to try something new and different alongside traditional academic publishing. Almost every academic writes a presentation after publishing a piece of research to present it to colleagues and different forums. So why not write a short tweet or do a quick video on it and you could reach 10 times the amount of people you would in a single presentation.
So massive caveat here. This is 4 years old, which, especially in the age of social media, is a long time. But we can't find anything better. This is a short infographic that demonstrates the impact of social media combined with academia and dissemination. So, as you can see here, more than 1,651 tweets from 1,500 accounts reached 2.5 million, according to some research carried out by Taylor and Francis. The content was appeared in 23 news stories, including Times Higher Education and The Conversation, and 6 posts. There were 6 posts on public Facebook walls, and there were 12 across blogs. This is obviously, these guys studied a number of accounts and demonstrated the impact and the reach of social media. Just some highlights to show you what can be achieved. So how to do it? We're going to talk you through some hopefully useful, easy to use bits of advice and tips. So really important point here, use visuals. If you're going to use social media, please don't just use text. There's some research that shows that tweets with photos drive more than 120% an increase of 120% in engagement by simply having a picture, and receive 350% more clicks, just again by having something visual. That's according to Search Engine Watch. It's about having the right content as well. It's having, using the right images and GIFs, the appropriate ones. We're going to show you some examples as well, and where you can get them. So here, this is how researchers have used images in their content to drive engagement. So here, Leonard Lee on the left, he's been really innovative. He's talking about some news, and he's screen grabbed the headlines and he's put them into an app that allows him to share that content. And then Professor Kamlesh Kunti, the director of Arc East Midlands, he's used this graphic from a study prominently in the tweet. And then Professor Partha Kar, who's prominent on social media in the diabetes community. He's prolific with GIFs, so it's about making sure you're using the right GIFs. Sometimes this one's probably borderline. I think it's fairly risque. Some really useful resources here. So you guys will obviously be aware that you got to be very cautious of Google Images. In fact, don't ever use Google Images for social media because of the copyright issues. We know of people that have had letters from solicitors where they've used an image from Google Images without permission, and it's an expensive business to fall into if you were to use those pictures incorrectly. However, there's some great websites out there that give you royalty-free and copyright-free images. That's the key. It's not just copyright-free, it's royalty-free. So there's a website called unsplash.com and pixabay.com where there's a complete bank of images. They will try and upsell you some paid for images linked to maybe websites like Shutterstock, but you'll have plenty of free options, and it's very clear as to the ones that are free and cost. A few other really good resources. Photor, spelt with an F, that allows you to create collages. Now, in this day and age, most social media platforms will allow you to create collages within that platform, but Photor, if you look bottom right, gives you more options in terms of a collage. And then Napwing, that allows you to create mini video photo collages. So if you were attending a conference and you were taking certain pictures of people speaking, of some of the main sessions of the exhibition hall, if you were at a conference and you wanted to pull that together in a video collage, you can use something called Napwing is really easy to create a little video where you place the pictures in a certain order, allows you to put text on, etc. Final tip as well, Canva is a brilliant resource. So if you look at the image in the centre at the top of this slide, read the quarterly Arc East Midlands newsletter. That's created in Canva. So Canva is a website that allows you to do graphic design really quickly and easily using a series of templates, and it's a drag and drop process. So you can create a template, change the wording, add your logo or anything to identify the study logo, etc. Change the color, customize the graphic, and it's like drag and drop. So for those of you that may be my age, you may remember Microsoft Publisher. It's like that, but easier. Similar to how you would lay out slides. It's really easy to do on PowerPoint. Yeah, sorry, just before I go, if you did want a higher quality of image, then Shutterstock and Getty Images, but you are looking at between £10 and £20 per picture if you wanted to buy pictures. So just a few words on hashtags and keywords. Hashtags, it's not just increasing your reach, it's also about tapping into conversations. So we've talked about conferences. The researchers that attend a conference will see that there'll be a hashtag advertised and they'll be tweeting using that hashtag. But also it's a way of joining the conversation of the conference, but while not being there. So if you've got some research that you wanted to share on a particular subject and you couldn't make a scientific conference related, the focus is on the latest research of that clinical area, then you can use the hashtag to summarize, do tweets summarizing your research, use the hashtag, and then all of a sudden that hashtag has been accessed by people at that conference and people talking about that subject area at that conference, and increases your dissemination. Again, conferences are great for hashtags, but also awareness weeks. So if you look at Dementia Awareness Week or Insulin Safety Week, for example, that was a few weeks ago. And then you've got Hypo Awareness Week in October. There's a big campaign there where people in the diabetes community talk about hypo-awareness. Now, if you've got some research that talks about hypo-awareness, covers hypoglycemia, then schedule that week in your calendar and make sure you're using that hashtag during that week to promote to disseminate your work.
So tagging people in your content can also be really important as well. It's a great way, as you can see here, to highlight your content, increase the organic reach of your post, and grow your social network as well. So whether that's accounts that you know are involved or interested in the same topics that you're discussing or that you've done your research on, your colleagues if they're involved, or if you'd like them to share your posts, your institution, other institutions or organisations that are kind of discussed and involved in those topics as well. Key opinion leaders as well. So it's a great way, if you tag them, it'll come up in their notifications. They're more likely to engage, share, comment, discuss that. And then any high profile individuals. So if there's an MP who's involved in a campaign and your research links to that, or a topic that you're discussing as well, it's great to tag them, and then maybe that will encourage them to interact and engage with your content as well, boosting its visibility. And then also, if your research is published in a journal or something, definitely tag that as well, because then they're more likely to interact and share your research as well. So here's some examples. So as you can see, hashtags are used by Amber. So when she's talking about the event that she went to, and then also the hashtag MedEd. So that's quite a popular one about medical education. So if you know any popular hashtags, or if you've identified any, it's a great way if you use them for other people to find your tweets and your work. And then as you see, Dr. Thomas Wilkinson as well, he's tagged quite a few organisations there about that piece of research and that report. And he's also included a link as well. And he's actually shared Kamlesh's post and then tagged those people in to encourage them to interact with it as well. And then Parthikar here, you can see he's used the hashtag Insulin Safety Week, hashtag T1 Diabetes, which is obviously what he's discussing, hashtag insulin, hashtag T1D. So they're good hashtags because they're to do with what he's discussing. And then people discussing similar things or wanting to know about that are more likely to find his post and interact with it. And then the end two, you can see the hashtags, the events, the popular PhD chat hashtag, and again, tagging other people that they would want to interact with the post. You can also tag people in images as well. So you can tag up to 10 people on Twitter in images. And then if you wanted to tag more, you can tag them in the copy. Or if you don't want to use up, on Twitter, your certain amount of characters, you can then reply to your own tweet and tag people, and then they're more likely to see it that way as well. Then engaging is really important on social media. So that's you engaging with other people and other people engaging with you. So if it's an increased reach and you want more people to interact with your work, you need to make sure that you interact with other people's work in the same community or industry that you're a part of. So being social on social media is really important. It's in the name. So the more social that you are, interacting with other people's work, liking, commenting, the more likely they are to interact with your work. And then the algorithm as well, which decides what posts appear on which people's pages, the more social you are, the more likely that you are to appear on other people's pages. So as I said, commenting on other people's posts, sharing other people's posts related to your topic and research. On different platforms, it can be called different things. So retweeting, sharing on LinkedIn, on TikTok, it's called stitching, where you would stitch someone's video. So that can be really important. And also retweeting what you're passionate and interested about as well. Commenting on other people's posts allows you to participate in those discussions and making yourself present by also posting content that will make you more visible to others. So the more you comment and interact with other people and give your thoughts on these things, the more you're kind of establishing yourself as an expert in that field. Including actionable posts to encourage engagement and involve your audience. So asking people to vote in polls, asking them questions, including links for them to click on, asking them to comment their thoughts below. That's really important because that's encouraging them to engage with your post, which will also boost your posts as well. And then connecting with and following relevant researchers, key partners, organisations. That's really important because it will encourage them to connect with you as well, and could lead to collaborations in the future and just a greater impact and reach for your content as well.
Thank you, Niamh. We're now going to look at some of the platforms available to you. So we're talking a lot about Twitter, and that's on purpose because there's a big community in the UK and internationally of health researchers on Twitter. So healthcare professionals, researchers, people working. What I tend to find is Twitter is more for people with professional interests. So LinkedIn is LinkedIn is the business network. Twitter is the news network. So, and professional interest. So on Twitter, you're going to be finding out the latest news around your industry if you're following the right accounts. Twitter is a great way to engage with a community at a conference, as already discussed, because that people will be the hashtags they will be using on Twitter. A little bit on LinkedIn, not on Facebook, but Twitter. So we would say Twitter is the best platform, or the most suited platform for researchers as the primary account. LinkedIn is also good and shouldn't be discounted. LinkedIn is the platform for people in a professional capacity. LinkedIn is that platform. It is for business, it is for researchers, for people with professional roles. LinkedIn is great. I think I prefer Twitter, definitely, but there are some, because there's so much more engagement. But LinkedIn's great for recruiters. Recruiters love LinkedIn because people will have your you have your CV basically there, so it's brilliant for recruiters. But the big advantage for me over for LinkedIn over Twitter is that you can write blogs. So if we go back a slide, here it says for Twitter you've got a limit of 280 characters, unless you create what's called threads, where you link posts together. So you're restricted with Twitter in terms of length of your posts content. With LinkedIn you can write blogs, so you can write 1,200 words. So if you're looking to do a commentary on or reviewing a new article, a new piece of academic research that's quite significant, or you're looking to summarize a conference, you can do that on LinkedIn, on a blog, and then you can then link it to Twitter. So you can post it on your LinkedIn account as a blog, and then use Twitter to share that within using the hashtag for the conference and linking it from Twitter to LinkedIn. Facebook, there's a reason why we've got Facebook here. Facebook is for friends, family, etc. pictures. There are professional groups, there are groups on Facebook. They tend to be more local, so they tend to be a group focused on where you live, what street you live, what town you live, etc. They don't tend to be professionally focused. However, Facebook advertising is something that I would urge you to consider if you if you're struggling with dissemination or recruitment for your study. So with Facebook advertising, with Facebook, sorry, if you're going to promote a study and you're looking to recruit people and you've got ethics approval, you can do that on Facebook, and you would have to set up a page rather than a profile. So you would set up a page that's a professional page rather than an individual personal profile, which is you do it through your personal profile. But the content, Facebook like your personal content to be shared. They don't like your content in a professional capacity, so on a Facebook page, to be shared, because they want you to pay. But you don't have to pay much. So for Arc East Midlands over the years, we've used Facebook to reach members of the public, and that's what it's really good at. So there was a study that showed the benefits of exercise in reducing falls for people over 60, and there was some resources produced, and we used Facebook to target people, because this is why Facebook advertising is so good. You can say, I want to target people with this interest in this area, this town, this postcode, and I want to spend this much money, and it will tell you how many people you can reach. So we had some really good engagement on the back of the campaign I was talking about, targeting people over the age of 60 in Nottinghamshire, with advice about exercising to prevent falls. If you look on the right hand side, you can see how the cost of this campaign that we did on the left that talked about a Facebook Live event. So this was aimed at the professional community, but Facebook, you might think, okay, well, Facebook, you've said is for people, friends, family, etc. But LinkedIn advertising is very expensive. So in theory, Facebook advertising shouldn't really work for professional interests, but it does, because even though people go on Facebook for personal reasons, Facebook still has their profiles, Facebook can still target them, and it's really cheap. It's much cheaper than LinkedIn. So if you look on the right hand side, £200 was spent on this campaign, and that led to 1,894 clicks. So that's a cost of 11p per click, and this is targeting people in a professional capacity to hear about a webinar looking at the benefits of movement in the prevention of and management of type 2 diabetes. So 11p per click. It's significantly higher. The same costs for LinkedIn, you're looking at 80, 90p a click. And even though people are on Facebook for personal reasons, if they see something that interests them, they're going to click.
Now, as Ollie said, we kind of want to focus a bit more on Twitter and LinkedIn, because we think that should really be the two platforms to focus on and be on more. But we're just going to quickly go over a few of the others. So obviously Instagram is a lot more visual, and you still can use it to build your own personal brand in a visual way. So here's some ideas of what you could be sharing. This obviously will be recorded, so you can come back to these slides that we will be sharing as well for more ideas later on. But that could be details of your publications, resources, pictures from conferences and events. And also Instagram has stories, which you can share pictures from where you are, videos from where you are now, ask questions, even host Q&As on there, polls and live footage.
So this is new, isn't it, Neve? Because I'm saying, look, I'm saying Twitter really should be your primary network, and LinkedIn, yeah, secondary. But more and more people are going on Instagram. It's got a younger demographic.
Yeah.
The average age of people joining Facebook is over 55s. LinkedIn is the younger crowd, but there are more people joining Instagram than Twitter.
And as you said, LinkedIn and Twitter are very kind of professional or professional interest. People tend now, if they're on Instagram or some of the other platforms like TikTok that we're going to talk about in a minute, people are really looking to be edutained, which is educated in a more entertaining way. So Instagram can also use Reels as well, which are shorter videos to capture people's attention and explain. It's just about explaining things in a visual way, and sometimes pictures and behind the scenes can add a more human and personal element to your post.
So can you create a reel on Instagram and then use it on Twitter?
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you can save your reels and everything from Instagram, which you can then share, or you can get links to videos as well, like reels.
So sorry to preempt the TikTok slide, but you'll be using the network as a means to create content to then share on your other platforms, your other accounts on other social media networks.
Yeah, so you can use that as more like a hosting platform, which you can then share across other networks. So another platform that we think is a great hosting platform is YouTube. Obviously, it's all about videos, much longer videos for YouTube as well, although they do also use YouTube Shorts now, which are just short form videos. But it's great YouTube if, like today, doing a webinar being recorded, that's going onto YouTube, and then sharing that YouTube link across your other platforms where you're hosting the video, rather than having to share that video on other platforms, which often have a time limit. YouTube.
And this video we wouldn't be able to host it on Twitter anyway because of the size.
Yeah, so it's just so big. And also it is a great way as well if people want to find out more about certain topics. They might want to do that in a visual way, like through YouTube, and search it that way. So it is important, if you are sharing your video on YouTube, even just to share via other platforms, using your keywords about what your research is in the title and description of your videos as well. And if you're already writing your study in abstracts anyway, why not summarize it in a quick visual video that then people can learn more about your research in a more visual way? Sometimes it's easier for people to grasp and understand that way as well. And then also there's some suggestions of what else it could include. So some people even use it to do kind of a day in the life or behind the scenes at conferences, etc. And again, you can use Q&As here as well if you want to answer more questions about it in a visual way. And then, as we spoke about earlier, TikTok. This is another video platform, but it's more short form content, so much shorter videos. And definitely, this platform is definitely more about edutaining as well, so educating in an entertaining way. So the majority of TikTok is fun, entertaining things, but researchers can really fill this gap in educating people with information and kind of combating misinformation in a lot of ways.
It's a really good example we showed in our previous social media session, where there was a researcher that had done some myth busting around Ozempic and Wegovy, the weight loss jabs, because obviously they are quite popular on Instagram and TikTok. So this researcher was saying, look, here's what people are saying, here's the science.
Yeah, and TikTok is definitely a platform for a much younger generation as well. So it's more kind of below 25s and around that age group that are on TikTok. And a lot of research now and demographics kind of say that the younger generation, they just want to see something quickly, understand it quickly, and then move on. So that's why it's really a lot shorter form content. And some people, which I can be a bit guilty of as well, if they want to know something about something or find out what it is really quickly, actually use TikTok as like a search engine. So rather than going onto Google and typing it out and having to read through loads of different web pages to understand it, just going onto TikTok and finding that someone's done a really good quick video just discussing and talking about what it is. And researchers really can fill that gap as well around the misinformation, rather than just some random person telling me what insulin does for people with diabetes. Actually hearing that from a researcher and a more trusted person can be really beneficial on that platform. And we do have some examples in a bit as well from the person that Ollie was talking about, who used a TikTok video to kind of bust some myths around Ozempic. So also, if you see here, according to LinkedIn, so they've done some research and said that short form content will dominate social media feeds. Brands and influencers will need to master the art of delivering impactful messages in under a minute to stay relevant. So TikTok is a great way of creating those short form videos.
When you say short form, you mean short videos?
Yeah.
What, 30 seconds, 60 seconds?
Yeah, probably under a minute, I would say. On TikTok now, they can go up to 3 minutes. So if you really want to delve into more context and more information, it is a great way. But I know that TikTok is quite new and it can seem quite daunting because there's so much going on there, but it's a great way just to give it a go, and it shows you how to create kind of as you're doing it. It is very easy to use.
Okay, thank you, Neve. So managing your online identity. I think the first thing that you should, so if you're not using social media to professionally to talk about your work, but you want to, I think the first question is what do you want to achieve? Why and what? Is it about dissemination? Is it to support with recruitment? Is it to try and is it CPD, continuous professional development? Is it to collaborate? So that for me is the first question you should ask, whether you're about to start or whether you're doing it currently. What do you want to achieve? So we've been talking about different platforms. Now, if you want to use social media to build up a personal brand, so you want to be known for the niche area of research or that you're working in, then maybe consider doing some of those short form videos that are aimed at a wider audience outside of your niche area, your own research community, because that's only going to boost your profile and increase your personal brand. So why is a really big question. So if you don't want to do that kind of thing and you just want to find out what's going on in your area and you want to share a bit of your own research, then maybe don't look at doing the TikTok videos. Maybe stick with Twitter and LinkedIn. If you want to use the platform, you use social media as a means to increase recruitment, or you want to disseminate some resources to members of the public, then consider Facebook advertising, or consider Instagram. So what do you want to do? Consider, there's a lot of talk now regarding social media use about personal brand. So people, when they're on social media, they're representing their organisations, their jobs, the University of Nottingham or whoever it may be, or a specific study, but also it's your personal account. So it's your personal brand that you would be building if you're going to use social media more consistently. So yeah, some obvious things here. Don't be pushy, be consistent. If you're going to commit to using social media, there's no point doing it every once a year when you're at a conference, or, think about consistency. Think about how you can produce content every week. I'm not saying do 5 posts a day, but maybe if you set yourself a target of doing 2 a week, there are, don't be pushy, it's pretty obvious, but there are obviously some negative aspects of social media. If you do experience that, it's quite easy to deal with by blocking people and reporting people. We hear from some researchers that what they want to be doing is to use social media to build up the impact of their content. So you can do that, or build up the impact of their reach. You can use social media to increase. You can use a platform that we'll be talking about in a minute that will allow you to you can put your summary of your study, or the web page of your study. You can put that into that link. You can put that into a platform called Bitly, and then that will give you one link that if you put that link on 10 posts across 3 platforms, everybody that clicks onto that link, the total will be one total, if that makes sense. And then that can be useful for at the end of your campaign to see how many people you reached, even though you've posted on 3 platforms and you've done 20 posts. But use the analytics. The analytics is helpful for the reason I've just said, but also use it to show you what's working and what's not. So you may have put lots of effort creating one of these nice edutainment videos, and it might not have had any impact, or it might have only had 5 clicks and you spent 2 hours doing it. So that would suggest either that one subject hasn't worked and maybe try again, or it's not worked, so consider something else. Something that you didn't think was going to work has got loads more hits. So almost that trial and error approach. Look at what's working and focus more on what's working to increase your reach and your success on social media.
So here's just a few little extra tips as well about kind of creating your personal brand on social media. So bios, kind of across all social medias, they allow you to put like a little, they call it bio, attached to your profile. So when people click on your account or your name and they go to your page, that's predominantly what they will see at the top. So it's a quick description of, we definitely think that you should kind of describe yourself as well and your work. So as you can see, the example at the side, Dr. Thomas Wilkinson, he's included that he's got a PhD, that he's a research fellow at that particular centre. And then also he's tagged the places that he's associated with as well, so that then if people do want to find out more about him and where he's working and the work that he's doing, they know they can click straight on there, know exactly where he's associated with. And it is such a great thing as well, for people to see that you're associated with these kind of organizations as well. Also in bios, you can include a link. So whether that's, you know, your most recent piece of research, or a link to a news article that you've been featured in. It's great to include links there as well, so that people can find out more about you. And in a lot of social media platforms as well, you can link your publications, projects you've been involved in, your interests, all to your profile and bio. So especially in LinkedIn, that's a really great way. You can put particular links on your profile. So like I said, news stories, your projects, your pieces of research, and also on LinkedIn, as it's more professional as well, you can fill in a lot more detail about where you got your qualifications, places that you've worked. And also on a lot of social medias, you can pin a post. So whether that is like your latest study or something, the first thing that you want people to see when they click on your profile, we do think that you should pin it, and then it just gives it a lot more visibility.
So another example here of Camlish Cunty, the Arc East Midlands director. This is his personal brand. So he's a leader in globally in his field, type 2 diabetes, and he shares lots of professional content, lots of important content, but he also gives you a bit of flavour for his personality and his personal life. So he's got a bit of a reputation for sharing his cocktails, as you can see on the right hand side. So he injects a bit of personality alongside the professional content, and he's known for it. People talk about Camlish's cocktails.
So then here's another example. So this is on LinkedIn. Leonard Lee has a really big, good personal brand on LinkedIn that he's kind of built around his particular niche and interest around the cancer vaccine. So as Ollie spoke about earlier, you can create blogs and articles on LinkedIn. He actually has his own blog, the Cancer Vaccine Bulletin, that each month he shares and does an update on that. And as you can see, even in his bio and his projects, he is mostly talking about the cancer vaccine there as well. And that's what he's chose to build his brand around. And as you can see, it does work. You know, he gets lots of likes, comments, reposts. So that's one way to build your brand on LinkedIn. And as we were talking about earlier, TikTok. So this is the person that Ollie was talking about, that we've used in a previous presentation as an example. Dr. Karan is a great example of someone who's harnessed TikTok and the space that...
Yeah, this is the chap that with the Ozempic myth busting, yeah.
So he's harnessed TikTok and that space it creates for researchers and educators to build his brand. He obviously does focus on building his brand. I mean, in his bio, you can see his main goal is to sell his book. And I think that does speak to the fact that if he's including it there and less about, you know, his qualifications and such, it is very much for his brand. As you can see kind of in the screenshots here, he doesn't really stick to one topic. He is very much about explaining trending topics as well.
So he's quite opportunistic. He's got his personal brand is to build himself as an expert, but he doesn't have necessary content themes that it's anything health related that's topical. Is that fair?
Yeah, basically anything topical or that's, as they say, kind of gone really popular, blown up on TikTok, he helps discuss that. So this video that we're going to show you in a minute here, that was posted by a very popular creator on TikTok, and within just I think it was 5 days or so, he'd already created this video that we'll show you in response to it and to kind of educate and explain it a bit more to people. And within just 4 days, that video amassed 771,400 views, 70,700 likes, 1,242 comments, and 4,696 saves and 13,600 shares. So you can see within just 4 days, he's really built that brand. That many people are seeing his video, and he's really good at responsive to the trending topics. So let me just show you this video. This is kind of the video style that he does and that works really great for him.
Are you being poisoned by heavy metals in tampons? This recent study showed there were various types of metals found in tampons that were tested. For example, they found the average amount of lead in the tampons was 120 nanograms per gram. Now let's compare this to other things humans frequently stick in their mucosal membranes, aka moist wet holes like your mouth. You cook 200 grams of white rice, that's up to 2000 nanograms of lead. You drink a couple of liters of water a day, that's up to 10,000 nanograms of lead. I think we can also assume the average woman doesn't have a tampon chewing vagina, which means the tampon isn't digested and absorbed the same way. So typical exposure isn't anywhere close to 100% through direct contact only. We're constantly exposed to metals like mercury, arsenic, cadmium and lead, which are present at various levels in the soil, water and atmosphere, and they make their way into the foods we eat and the products we use. The cotton plant will absorb lead and other heavy metals from the soil, and since most tampons are made from cotton, tampons will contain minuscule but non-clinically significant amounts of these heavy metals. It's also worth noting that the study acid digested and microwaved the tampon samples to get their results. Again, I doubt the average vagina can be compared to a pot of boiling acid, so it's not quite real world conditions. I think it's fair to say that having more clarity from regulators about the upper limits of contamination allowed for menstrual products is important to know regardless.
So as you can see, he uses that video and he talks about the study. He uses screenshots, he underlines particular bits, and he just talks it through and kind of gets rid of a bit of misinformation that was probably caused by the original video as well.
And he's got quite a YouTuber style, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And as you can see,
Anybody with kids that are between 8 and 13 will relate to that style.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
So as you can see here, nearly 1 in 10 Americans, according to Adobe, a study that they did, state that they're more likely to rely on TikTok than Google as a search engine. So that's really why his videos kind of work and are so important, because he's someone who actually knows what he's talking about. He doesn't just kind of use the title like the original video probably did and spread a bit of misinformation, probably not totally, because it is what the study was about, but he goes into it and explains it a lot more and kind of stops people from worrying about particular things as well. So here's a platform, Altmetric, that I found recently that I think is a really great way of linking your research to your profiles and kind of measuring the outreach of your publications. So it doesn't just kind of include citations, which sometimes once your research is published, it can take a while for people to start citing your research and everything. Whereas social media, if someone shares it, it can be done straight away as soon as it's live. So this platform is a way to measure not just your citations, but mentions of your research, tweets, downloads, comments, and use of scholarly work in non-academic discussion venues. So it's instant as soon as your research is published. So a bit more of a look into this. They've got particular things within that platform that you can use. So this Altmetric badge, which you can see in the middle, it reveals automatically your online engagement, so you can see how well your work is doing from the moment it's published. It's regularly updated. So you can evidence the reach of your publications over time. So whether that's you wanted to show line managers, your institution, how far your work is being shared and where and how, and just the reach of it, it's a really great way to do that. And you can embed your Altmetric badge as well to websites or even bios using a link so that people can see how far your research is being shared. It also helps you identify your readership. You can use it as evidence of your previous success and benchmark the work of your peers and see where their research is gaining traction as well, which you can then use these insights to inform your research strategy. And also the bookmarklet here is a great way to help find research which is trending or popular and then help you join that discussion. So it's definitely worth having a look at it, and you can request demos as well. So it's definitely something I think would be really worth looking into. And then another platform that we found recently, which was actually mentioned in the video that we showed you at the very start of the presentation, is ResearchGate. It's basically like another social media platform, but it's designed by scientists and researchers for scientists and researchers. So you can register for free and build your profile, add your skills, expertise, your institution and department, and claim your own publications on there as well. And then once you're set up, you can go straight to related researchers page to find and follow people. So it's a great way to build your brand and establish yourself, boost your online identity, but also it's a great way to find and collaborate with other top researchers in your fields.
Thank you, Neve. Just to conclude, managing your platforms, few little useful tips to end with to make life easier in delivering successful social media. So you've established your objective, you've established what platforms that you're going to use, you've established the kinds of content and when you're going to engage at conferences, for example. So it's handy to have a one-page calendar where you look at the year ahead, you identify what awareness weeks there are, what conferences there are, when your research is going to be published. Look at Canva to create design, look at Sprout Social to help you with analytics and scheduling, Hootsuite as well, although just a word of warning, Hootsuite now costs approximately £10 a month. So scheduling is where you say if you're really busy for the next month, but you want some general content coming out from your accounts, you can schedule the content to go out at a particular day and time. Every social media platform allows you to do it from their own accounts, but a platform like Hootsuite allows you to do it all in one place. Problem is it charges £10. I want to mention previously, I brought up the example of Bitly, Bitly. That is a link aggregator. So that's where, as I said before, if you've got one page that you want everybody to go to, you can put that URL into Bitly. Bitly will give you one URL that you can post across all your platforms, give to different people, and it will give you one overall link number of how many people have clicked it. So I'd advise you to look at some of these resources. They make life easier. Questions and answers. Have we got any questions and answers? Thank you, everybody, for your time. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. If anybody wants to come forward with a question, we'd ask you to either raise your hand or leave the messages in the chat function of Teams. Okay, so first of all, we have a question. Are GIFs you can search for on Twitter copyright free? Yes. Yeah, you're fine on Twitter. They'll give you the ability. If Twitter are allowing you to search for a GIF and to use a GIF, you're fine on copyright. Okay, so over the last few years, researchers have found challenges with fake participants on Twitter. Any advice on how to avoid fake accounts reaching out to you as potential participants? That's a good question. I think you can tell quite quickly from on a Twitter account, especially, it's quite easy to spot a fake account. But how do you prevent them from engaging with you? So from my experience with recruitment, we've always used Facebook advertising, and with Facebook advertising, it's targeting real people, so there isn't an issue there. But in terms of Twitter, I think it's a good question. Maybe we would need to have a little think about that and come back to you, because there was the obvious question. The obvious answer is, I think there are certain hallmarks of a fake Twitter account. They tend to have pictures that look a bit removed from reality. They don't tend to have much in their biography. If you scroll through their Twitter history, the content tends to be a bit random and all over the place, not specifically geared towards one subject area or two subject areas. So let us have a little think about that, and we'll come back to you on that question. TikTok 10 minutes limit.
Yes, so they do allow you to post 10-minute videos now. They've been kind of over the past few months trialing with longer videos, but really their platform works so well because it is shorter videos, really quick things that you can scroll through. But as we said, it's a great place to create videos. And once you've created and posted a video on TikTok, you can actually share that video via a link. So you can copy a link, which you can then share on other platforms. So if you did want to do a longer video, it might not be super successful through TikTok, because obviously people are on there just constantly scrolling, wanting to see really quick videos. But it could be really good if you wanted to create a longer video on TikTok, up to 10 minutes, and then share it to another platform, or alternatively YouTube as well, for longer videos.
Another question. This sounds like a mammoth job for someone like me to get started on social media. Are there any professional bodies that can set up your brand initially on all these platforms? I think you might struggle with professional bodies. I think you could use a social media consultant, maybe. That could be an option to get you started, and that they could help with the design of any graphics that you have in your header. But obviously that does come with a cost. You could maybe speak to, if you're part of a university, maybe I would advise speaking to your university communications office, university press office, and ask them for advice on helping you set up. How much time does one dedicate towards dissemination, engagement of research in social media? So I guess the question goes back to your objective. What do you want to get out of it? If you really want to build a personal brand and you really want to start being known for a niche subject, like our chap that did those quirky, engaging videos, then the time that you're going to put in is going to be much more than somebody that wants to share their research to a conference. So for me, the answer is, what do you want to achieve? What is your overall, what does success look like for you on social media? In a year's time, what do you want to see? Do you want 1,000 followers? Do you want to build up your own network? Do you want to be sharing content? Do you want to be finding out about your any research opportunities in your area, any new studies in your area? That's one objective. If you wanted to go bigger than that and create summaries of research of conferences using some of the resources that Niamh's talked about, then yeah, your time that you invest into social media is going to be higher. So yeah, I think it's all about what you want to get out of it. So with 1 minute to spare, we've delivered the presentation and completed questions and answers. So we're on time. There's one final question. Are there certain times of the day? Yes, brilliant question. When you are supposed to share content in order to optimize communication? Yes. Not Sundays.
No.
So what we'd like to do is share with you a video, the content from our previous social media presentation, where we reviewed some of the best times.
Yeah, that was how to post strategically. We talk about timings and days.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, it's between 10 and 2 on a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's pretty much in the week.
Yeah.
Not weekends.
Yeah. Not Sundays.
Not really evenings that much as well. Definitely not early mornings.
Yeah. But we can arrange for that video to be shared with you. I would say also that we'll come back and we'll look at some advice on how to avoid fake accounts reaching out to you as potential participants. Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to you on that as well. I think we've got another question. Yes, there we go. Thank you, Patricia. There's the link to that. No, sorry. Yes. Could I? I've got a hand up. So Blanca, if you're able to share your question.
Yes, I'm the one who wrote the question about the fake participants. So I just wanted to clarify. I know it is easy to identify a fake account.
Yeah, it's how do you stop them? Sorry, I'm with you now.
Not quite. It is the fact that sometimes they don't like the post or they don't follow you. But if you put your email address, all of a sudden you get 50 to 60 emails from email accounts that is like name, like John Smith,
Oh, okay.
005.
Right.
And it is quite difficult to block it because nobody like or retweet your post, but someone saw it, and it has happened to me, but it has happened to many of my colleagues that we get 40, 50 emails from very basic names followed by 3 numbers at gmail.com. No link, no phishing, but not a.
So do you know what I would do? It's a little bit more effort, but I think it would be worth it. I would use something like Microsoft Forms. So you would, which is easy to use. So you're creating your own sign-up form rather than just giving your email address. You would create a Microsoft form where, you say people's name, age, where they're from, whatever details you want to collect. Then they fill that out, and that email comes through to you. Get an email from Microsoft Forms with all their details. So you're putting in an extra, rather than just giving the email address, which then obviously all the bots and the spam, the crazy internet world of spammers divulges on you. Create a form. Microsoft Form will have the ability to reduce spam by potentially using one of the, where you have the capture technology where you have to click on the cycles or the buses or the bridges. So it's verifying the content that comes through to you.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, john.smith606 at gmail.com doesn't seem too fake to me. So that is not weird email address that I received. So I could try it, but maybe we need a little bit more information about how to stop these fake participants, how to identify them as well, because they do reply to emails and they do want to book interviews. And it can lead to a very awkward conversation.
So is it where you've shared your email address on social media to say people that are interested in getting in touch,
Yes.
click, here's the email address?
Yeah.
So
what I'm saying, participating, send me an email.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is create, rather than give them your email address, build a Microsoft form, and then put that link to that form in your post. So
yeah, I understood it.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether it will be fully effective. Thank you for the advice.
I think the answer will be no. I think it could reduce the spam. Because there are other ways potentially. We're going to come back to you. We're going to have a little bit more of a think and come back to you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. Any other questions?
I think we're over the time now, so we've lost a few anyway. So it's perhaps time to
wrap up. Thank you ever so much for joining us, everybody. We appreciate your time. Hope you learned something from our session. The content has been shared, and we're going to come back to Blanca. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. That was great. Cheers.